Hello, Freedom Casters.
It's Dave here with Buster.
Yes, we are.
I am Dave.
We are back from the
Naturally,
abyss.
Buster.
Yeah, of course I would be Buster. He has a Dave and Buster's mug, so that explains.
Dave.
that. So we are back from being gone for quite a while, like a month or something.
We took a little hiatus from the podcast, but I think that's good. It's natural. It's good to take some time off. But we want to talk about why we did that, and then we also want to talk more about some upcoming just crazy news and adventures for Jordan and Miranda. So there's going to be a lot of cool Jordan and Miranda updates on this podcast, but then there's also just going to be some really good nuggets to take away from and hopefully expand your life.
I'm sure they're all really pumped about those nuggets now.
We also are videoing this podcast for the first time, so forgive us if we pause or whatnot. We're just probably looking at ourselves in the video.
We're just gazing into our own eyes.
So if there's pauses in the podcast, you know why. You can also check this podcast out on YouTube. We'll probably try to have it out at the same time.
Yeah, we decided that we wanted to try doing the video along with the recording just to see how it goes. So this is really just kind of a run through. So it might be a complete failure. We'll see.
This is for the people that say, I've heard so much about your podcast. I really need to go watch it. Well, now you can.
Yeah, we want to make it possible to watch the podcast because, you know, who doesn't want to look at our lovely faces? I
mean, because we are goofy and ridiculous and we're wearing our glasses. I mean, that's like part of the show. So I think we like being on, we're scared to like have pictures taken, but like I don't mind doing videos. Like I do videos all the time.
Yeah. Well, we're just kind of awkward. Like, okay, act natural, and then we just turn into like we've never even seen each other before. Like we had an arranged marriage and this was our first meeting. That's what we look like in pictures.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Hey, if you're in an arranged marriage, that's pretty good.
That was nice. So, yes. So, like we said, we were gone for a little while, just kind of recouping, getting excited, and now we're going to try doing some video with the podcast. So, those are two little just updates.
Yeah, and really we want to get into this whole thing that we've been experiencing lately, and I think it's something that a lot of people probably have experienced and struggle with. It's the end of a project blues.
The end of an era.
The end of an era. We spent most of the summer working on my book, and that was like our big thing. And it was like, it was like a side thing. But we spent a lot of time working on that. So Miranda still had her job. I still had a lot of stuff that I had to do, of course, for Archangel Inc. and all of my other stuff that was going on. But this was what we worked on in the periphery. This is what, I spent July spending my nights going to Barnes & Noble, writing this book. And we spent so much time planning and getting this book out there that once we finally got it out and we finished some of our last marketing pushes, we were like, wow, like, what's next? Like, we felt a little bit like lackluster and like...
Yeah, it was tough because we were putting any extra energy we had into this project. And yeah, I'd come home from work, I'm working in the 95-degree heat and just like sweating all day, come home, take a shower, and then we're just like making a marketing plan. We're just working. So we work really well under that one big goal. So it was really exciting and it was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun. But then when we wrapped it up, we just felt empty. Like when you finish, like a whole show on Netflix or something.
Yeah, it's like the end of a binge watching.
Like, what do I do
Bigger
now?
scale, but it's a similar kind of concept to, you have this, you completed something and it was great, but then there's just that journey is like a huge part of it. Like, of course you want to complete it, but at the same time there's so much energy that you can get out of working on a big project. I mean, one of my things that I've shared like in my books and stuff, this was in one of my first books that I think it's a cool like tactic is just to have a project. Like having a project it keeps you busy, but it keeps you motivated to do the right things. Like it's just really cool. If you ever find yourself like super bored or lacking motivation or just uninspired, I think that you don't have that if you're working on a big project. Like this summer, Miranda and I, like, it was not often that we were like, oh, like I don't really know what we want to work on, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's such a cool thing. So if you've never like really delved into like a big project before, I mean, if you want that to be the one takeaway of this podcast is, you know, you're gonna deal with the end of project blues, but like while you're working on it, it's such a cool thing. Yeah.
And it was really fun for us to work together on that project because we used to work together at the retirement home, and we really enjoyed doing that and, you know, trying to achieve all these goals with that. But this was just a lot of fun, again, to kind of delve back in, working together and just having a combined goal. So that was definitely a lot of fun. And like we said, we definitely hit a wall after it was over. And we kept trying to brainstorm, like, okay, what's next? And we'd make a plan. We'd be like, okay, this is perfect. This sounds just right. And then the next day we'd be like, I don't think that's right. And we're like, let's brainstorm again. And it just was like this cycle of like over and over, like, what are we doing? So.
And it's interesting that you bring up that cycle, because I think, you know, a lot of people can get stuck in that paralysis analysis. But I think it's also, you know, you don't want to just dive into something new either, because, you know, like we know about ourselves, if we dive into something, we are putting ourselves into it, and we want to make sure it's the right thing. So I think there is something to be said for definitely wanting to be in the planning stages too. I just think it's always worth noting that, you know, for the vast majority of, I think, people and situations, then, you know, taking action is probably the right answer in most of them, I think.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
I think so.
Because I think it's easy to get...
I may have spaced out a little bit.
Oh, you did, but it's fine. I think it's easy to get stuck in, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. You know, and you know, jumping can be difficult. But it's so important to, you know, at some point take the leap and just start something, because you're going to learn more by failing than you are just wondering. All that being said, it's great to take time to brainstorm, and I think sometimes we may even brainstorm a little bit too much, but I think having a solid plan and really kind of making sure that plan isn't just like a one day, like, that sounds good, because like Miranda just said, we had a lot of plans that we were like, well, that's definitely exactly what we're doing, and then the next day we were like, actually, that's not what we want to do. Why were we even thinking that? Like, that's not going to be a good use of our time.
Yeah, so it definitely is.
All that being said, I went in full circle there.
You did.
Just fast forward through that if you want.
Just to be able to brainstorm, but then also eventually make a plan. Don't just get completely stuck in that, which we kind of did, but that's okay.
Yeah, and I think that's natural after, you know, we're talking very, very specifically, we're talking the end of project stuff. It's like, oh man, I was working on this really good project that was a lot of fun, and, you know, it went really well, but what now? Like, how do I live up to that? Like, how is what I'm going to jump into next anywhere near the scale of that, you know, and the amount of work? And it's like, maybe it's not, and that's okay. I just think sometimes it's easy to compare, and I want it to be this next big thing, but maybe it's just like something we're going to do for the next month. Like, maybe it's a next month focus, and maybe it's not the next 3 years you'll be doing this specific thing every single day. You know, I'd lose my mind.
Yeah. Can I just say that I'm very glad that I feel really good being back on the podcast. It's like,
I do too.
I missed it.
And, you know, I think it's cool just for us to talk about stuff too.
We just like hearing ourselves talk.
You know, so. I just love hearing my own voice and watching myself in the video with my glasses.
I know.
All right, where are we going next?
Well, let's just take a moment to talk about, I cut Jordan's hair because we just do it to save money. So,
but
I just want to say it looks a little weird right now.
I love how you do it. Maybe it's just because I'm sitting.
I don't know. There's something weird.
I really do love how you cut my hair, but like, honestly, I would have to go to professional to figure out what the heck is going on in the front here. And pretty much every haircut place I've been has like, they look at the front of my hair and they're like, I don't know what to do with that. So let's just bash on me for a little bit. Just the way I'm built. Like, the first time you ever cut my hair, you did it better than anyone else. Like, it's just better short. We just need to cut it again and just cut it super short. Because I don't know why it doesn't grow there or something. I don't know. I don't know what the heck's going on with my head. I'm glad we took a minute to discuss.
I just thought that was an important thing to talk about.
No, it is an important thing to talk. The podcast listeners are gonna be like, I can't see that. So just go to YouTube and watch the video. we'll stop talking about the video so we got to honor our podcast people first. I mean, they're
the true fans.
They are the heart of what we're doing this for, the podcast.
Yes. So, like we said, we had kind of a little break, and now we are very excited because we have a very big life change, big adventure, big everything coming up in 2019.
Yeah, and we're sharing this with grand scheme. We've shared this with friends and family, but we've also had not shared it with a lot of people. And we are this podcast. This podcast is like where we're sharing this information. So if you're listening to this podcast, like you are hearing this before most people.
Yes.
I say friends and family, but like most people don't know this.
Yes, because we're really bad about talking about what we're doing to like people in real life.
I think we're funny because, and this is a side tangent, but I think a lot of people can relate to this. It's hard, people say that like people love talking about themselves, but like when I'm in a group situation, it's hard for me to like start a thing and say, "Hey guys, guess what I'm doing?" Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people out there probably struggle. I almost just spilled my coffee all over the table. I already spilled the coffee over the computer yesterday, but.
We should talk about your special key moment yesterday as well.
Yes, we should. Can I finish what I was going to say?
Yeah, of course.
Excuse me, podcast people. What was I saying?
You were talking about yourself in group situations.
Oh yeah, I think it's such an interesting, concept to think about because I mean, extroverts out there don't struggle with that probably. I think there's a lot of people that like, hey, I love like going to a group and like. And that's good because they can talk about other people and then they can like insert things about themselves like naturally. But like for me and Miranda, we're like, I don't know how to do that. Like I don't know how to just start talking about myself. Like I care and like I want people to like know more about me. It's not that I don't want people to know. It's that I just can't I can't think of a natural opportunity to like bring up the fact, of what we're doing in 2019. Like. And I think Miranda's the same way. Like
I'm even worse. Way worse.
But like we're like, I feel like we're both like great listeners. Like we'll talk to people. But that's something. I mean, I've been working at that and trying to be intentional about that and like asking people questions and just having deeper conversations. But with stuff like this, it's like I don't know how to bring it up if I'm not asked. So, but we can talk about the key thing if you want.
Directly.
So. This is like a sub level. Like they don't even know what we're talking about. We'll get back to the track.
This
guys.
is a very we're rusty because it's been a while, so we are just like throwing all these things out here right now.
But also, it's entertaining.
So thanks for sticking.
It's entertaining for me
sticking with us here
to watch myself and my.
So last night
my stupid hair.
Last night we were it's a Friday night and I really wanted to be productive. I was like, man, we have all this stuff we have to do. I really just want to get, some nice solid work done because last weekend we went to Pennsylvania for my little sister's wedding, which was amazing.
J-Boss!
It was so much fun.
And Cam.
Yes.
What was their hashtag?
We never thought of a wedding hashtag.
Walker Brown the aisle?
Yeah. So last weekend was kind of a wash.
Sorry,
work-wise. So this weekend, I was like, okay, I want to be very productive. So it's Friday night, and, I even got out of work early yesterday. And I forgot you got out of work early. Yeah. Spoiler alert, I got out at noon, and I got absolutely nothing done the entire night.
Double nap.
A double nap, yeah.
Chinese food, Spider-Man.
It's pretty bad. So
it was a great night.
Sometimes
that's okay. Whenever
we're feeling like we're not getting anything accomplished, we need to kind of reset. We always go for a walk. So we're like, okay, let's go for a walk. So
reset did nothing.
Jordan's like, oh yeah, well let us check the mail, while we go. And I was like, great idea, because maybe we always are waiting for a big break in the mail. So we always go down and, hopefully there's like a check in there or something.
For $1 million.
I mean, it happens. So we go down, we check the mail. There's just some junk in there. And then we start on our little walk, and we're about a quarter mile away, and Jordan's like, oh, I don't know where my keys are. So we are like, well, shoot, maybe we left them in the mailbox.
And we, never do stuff like that. Like, we hardly ever lose things. I mean, we spill things all the time, and we're very klutzy. But as far as, forgetting things, or it's just interesting what what you don't do, like we don't lose things. Maybe it's because we live minimalistically and don't have
we don't have much to lose.
But yeah, I mean, it's just an interesting side note to the story.
Yeah, so we're like, shoot, well, let's backtrack, make sure it's not just on the sidewalk. Let's check the mailbox. And we go back, they're just nowhere to be found. They're completely gone. We knew we opened the mailbox with the keys, so it's like, well, it had to be between there and then wherever we walked to.
Yeah, they're definitely somewhere between here and here, or someone took them.
And we were gone for what, like a total of 5 minutes?
It was probably about 5 minutes.
Like, at the most, 5 minutes.
It was very quick. I mean, Mariah said quarter mile, but it was probably even less than that. It was just a little bit down the road, and I was like, I got nothing. I don't have my keys.
Feeling himself up, like, shoot, where are the keys? Shaking around, I'm not jingling.
Yeah, that's exactly. I was like jumping up and down, like, Miranda, do you hear anything?
So they're gone, and we're just like, well, shoot, we locked the apartment door, and, it's kind of cold outside. The sun is setting, and our keys are gone.
What do we do?
Like, oh, we just wanted to do a reset walk, and now we're in this, in this situation. So I retrack our steps. Jordan just hangs by the mailbox, and this really sweet older lady from our, apartment building complex, she's just is helping us. Her name's Ellen.
I called her over, said, ma'am, have you seen any keys? And I just was asking her, and she was so sweet. She stood with us for 20 minutes, looking around,
in the cold,
calling people, trying to figure out how we could do this. And Miranda said it afterward, but the sense of community that things like that bring about, it's almost worth just losing your keys completely. We didn't know that lady, but you never know what moments and when God is trying to teach you something. And it's always good to pause and say, I could be upset, I could be really frustrated, but at the end of the day, we got to meet this really nice lady that we now know is our neighbor. And if that's not worth it, then what are we doing? Things like that, I love taking the positive perspective on that stuff, because we should be thinking about that stuff. We shouldn't be all about, well, I need to get back in my apartment. What? We need to get back in our apartment so we can take another hour and a half to decide what we want to do.
Yeah. We didn't know what we were doing anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So it took a long time, and we ended up calling our apartment emergency line, but then it cut you off. It didn't work. We're like, well, what are we gonna do? We had another neighbor come down who's right in our section. And they were super nice. They're like, oh, if you're locked out, you can come hang out in our apartment,
How cool is that? Community again, it just blows me away, and it's amazing.
Because
love it.
Before, we locked ourselves out of our Corolla, about a year ago now. And it was so cool then, too, because...
Shout out to Blair and Nick, because I know that Nick listens to this show. Super helpful. They called AAA.
Yeah.
Drove us around a little bit. Super nice people.
So those moments when it's just you do something really stupid, it really is cool when you have that community, even when you don't even realize you have that community. But just to see people just reaching out and doing just a little nice thing, it really does. It just makes you want to be a better person,
Yep.
Hopefully in that same situation, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
So eventually we found the keys. There's a comment box, and it has just a tiny little slot in it for paper, but apparently there's a little bin part behind it. It's hidden. And another well-meaning neighbor took the keys out and dropped them in there.
They had to have, because I wouldn't have put it in that. They could have taken it out of the mailbox and put it in the suggestion box within that time frame. It was
5
crazy.
minutes.
But we were just standing there talking to Ellen, and she said something about a box, or I asked her about, is there a box, a drop box on the building, maybe someone put them in there. And then she's like, no, they used to have a suggestion box or something. And I was like, I feel like I've seen that. So I kind of had it in the back of my mind, and then we were just talking there with her, and I'm like, let me just check that. Let me see if there's any space in there that someone could have plopped them in. This is crazy. And I reach in, and it was a little jingle, and my heart was like, please, please. And I pulled them out, in my palm. I was like, guys, they're right here. And then we were all really happy. And I gave Ellen a hug, and it was this cool moment. I really liked it. I'm really glad that we told that story.
Yeah, it was just a cool, we were just floundering, what are we doing? And then just a cool thing like that happens from just, being a little forgetful. So just a reminder when you're, in those situations, or if you have the opportunity to be that like nice neighbor, just go for it. It means so much. It's just a little thing, like just hanging around 20 minutes in the cold, helping us look for keys was like, makes your heart feel good.
It was pretty awesome. I think we've let these people that are listening to this podcast and also watching this video, we've let them go long enough. What's our big announcement, Miranda? What is it that we didn't want to tell a lot of people, that we were like, we're going to save this announcement for a podcast because we're weird. We're leaving normal behind.
This is easier for us. It's honestly the only reason.
Maybe for you.
Oh, so crazy.
No, for me too.
So we are...
I did tell my mother about this before we're announcing it on the podcast.
Yes.
I just wanted to note that because my mom would be upset.
Yeah. No,
but I told my mom about this. So, Mom, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, you already know this. I hope.
Yeah, so we are going to be traveling to Thailand for 2 months, January and February of next year. And, I mean, we're just so excited.
We are ridiculously excited. We've been heading this way. I mean, this is, we've been telling people this is why this is one of the reasons that we started Meet on the Road to being able to work from home, because it's not just working from home, it's working from anywhere. I can take a laptop and I can do what I need to do for the most part. Mm-hmm. Well, for the most part, for 100% of the part, I don't know what I'm saying for the most part for. That's all I need. I just need the ability to connect to the people via phone, email, like having that. And then, it's all online. And this is what we've been working towards for the last, set of years. And it's cool that it's like almost real. Now, yes, it's scary. It's frightening, actually, for many reasons.
It's very scary, but equally exciting.
Yep.
Clear that throat.
Yeah. Excuse me.
So, yeah, we're going to be leaving. It's going to be actually like middle of January to like early March. But, yeah, we're going to be going to Chiang Mai. And then halfway through, we're going to be taking a little vacation within our travels to go to Singapore, which looks so cool. We are like, oh man, it's awesome. So
we've never gone anywhere like this before. For me, I've been down to Ecuador. I did a 2-week mission trip down there into Quito and Guayaquil. And Miranda's been over to Europe once.
During high school with the PA Ambassadors of Music, which was really cool, but high school feels like so long ago. I can't even
it was high school for me too.
Yeah, and we've been to Cancun, but we didn't even leave the resort. So
yeah, we went
I don't know if that counts.
Canada and then Cancun, but that was for a wedding. That's very much, I don't really count that. I mean, we were in Mexico, but
we didn't explore at all.
We were
just like by the pool the whole
yeah.
time.
We were like, we're not going to leave. This is fun. But I mean, besides those adventures, this is like a culmination adventure. And it's cool, and we're so excited about it. And like we said, we're nervous, but it's just that next step for us. But it's also, for you as a listener, what does that mean for you? I think it means, maybe you're onto something next. Maybe you have like a big change coming up. We've seen so much growth and so much good happen from our big life changes that we've made before we're ready. I think there's so much. It's just like, it gets me because like, I think we were in this mode of, especially when we were in Mechanicsburg of being afraid of change, being afraid of a big change. But like, at the end of the day, we look at our map of the U.S. and moving from Pennsylvania to North Carolina is like a little blip. Like it's such a small thing in the grand scheme of things, but for us it was big. But it's just once you get outside of your comfort zone, once you get outside of your box, it's still scary, but it's easier to say, yes, I'm going to take that leap. Like, this is where I feel like God is pushing us, and he wants us to grow, and he wants us to expand. He doesn't want us to live in this, like, little bubble. He wants us to see more and know more. And I think, we've been working at it, and I think it's going to be crazy. It's going to be scary. I don't know how it's going to work out. We don't know. Like, we don't know what even Miranda's really going to be doing while we're there. Like, we don't have these things, like, completely nailed down. But it's that trusting piece.
Yeah. You went on for a while there.
I did. Now you can go on for a while.
I'm back. So yeah, it's just it's very exciting, and it's also very scary because we really do love change, and sometimes we're like, are we just like being crazy? But we really wanted to try out this, it's called a digital nomad lifestyle. This is kind of a test run where you just work online and then you can just travel anywhere. And like Jordan said, we, just looking at a map of the U.S., like we've lived, in Jordan and Maine, and then us in Pennsylvania and the North Carolina. And even just within like the U.S., it's such a small little portion. And we're just,
tiny little piece.
we're just super excited to stretch because we know, like he said, we don't really have much travel experience, so it's going to be just crazy for us. We're going to land and just be completely overwhelmed. And
I mean, we're staying in the back of a cafe for 30 days.
Which is so cool.
But
it's just...
But, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna stretch us in a lot of ways and grow us and just open our minds to even more, just the different cultures in the world. You get stuck in your own little bubble, and like the culture in North Carolina is different from Pennsylvania, but not that different in the, when you compare it to the whole world. So we are just, we're so excited. I know we keep saying that. Yeah, and nervous.
And the cool thing is we're going to be doing our best to keep the podcast going. And I will tell you right now, the sound quality is not going to be what it is right now. I mean, it's not super amazing right now. We're in a bigger office, so there's a little bit of reverb. I have no idea where we're going to be able to do a podcast. It might be we're recording it on a plane or recording it in like the back of a cafe. But there's going to be a cool part of that, I think, just doing it in those places. A cool aspect to that. So we're going to be just updating you. Miranda's going to be on Instagram. You can follow her there. What's your Instagram name? I'll add it to the show notes.
Miranda Ring 89. I just recently got back on Instagram. So
follow Miranda. Is it at Miranda Ring 89 for Instagram?
I think so, yeah.
Just type in Miranda Ring 89 on Instagram.
I was on a social media hiatus for a very long time, so this is, it's...
No, but you're going to be able to follow us, pictures on there. We're going to keep our podcast going. I'm sure that I'm going to blog about it. I don't know with what regularity I'm going to be blogging, but we'll try to have videos whenever we can. We want this experience to be as much shared as possible. We want you guys to be part of this, seeing what we're doing, but then just experiencing along with us the growth that comes from major life change. We're all about leaving normal behind, and this is just part of the way that we're showing that, we are going to live out what we're saying. We don't want to be just people in an office in North Carolina making funny faces and wearing funny glasses. Like, that may be leaving normal behind to be married 6 years and not have a dog. Maybe. But we want to go beyond that. We don't have a dog because I'm allergic, so.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah.
I was hoping you were going to say something about that, but you were just like, why did you say that?
No.
It is weird to have avocado plants.
Yeah, that's special.
J-Boss, if you're listening to this, you better be taking care of Pokey.
We gave my sister... We're the worst present givers. We gave her...
No, this is the best.
We gave
her our firstborn child.
Our firstborn avocado plant that we've had since April.
Of 2018.
But it went on the car ride all the way up to Baltimore with us, and hopefully it's alive. I don't know if the traveling could have killed it. We'll see, but...
No.
Yeah.
Oh, Pokey. Not Pokey.
Not Pokey. So,
I feel like you keep talking. I'm going to go get one of our avocado plants, and we're going to show the people on the video.
Oh, yeah, that's exciting.
I think that'll be good.
Yeah, so going back to the traveling thing, we are definitely going to be stretched in a lot of ways, and it is also a big deal because I will be leaving my job because it's 2 months. I don't think they're just going to hold my job for that long. So
check this guy out, guys. You can't see this on the podcast. You can go to our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is just Leaving Normal Behind on YouTube. If you want to see this, you can scroll to, we're at about 30 minutes. But this is and maybe I'll put a picture of this too on the show notes. Just try to remember that. This is our avocado plant. And it's cool because we just grew it from the avocado pit. You have to put it in water for a while.
Stick some toothpicks in it.
This was, water. We just bought an avocado and ate the avocado because avocados are delicious. And then we just put it in water and it grew to this. And I think it's super cool. And that's what we gave awesome. J-Boss for her wedding.
So if you invite us to your wedding, you're probably going to get an avocado plant. Just,
The next wedding we're going to, Liz and Adam, congratulations, guys. You might be getting them.
Yeah, we need to watch. We need to get an avocado sitter for our trip.
We do need to make sure that Pokey Sprout is alive and well before we bring another one up to Pennsylvania.
Yes. So we are very excited, just content-wise. We're going to have a lot of new and exciting adventures to share. And just, in general, we're just trying to stretch and grow and travel and do what we can because we are in a pretty unique situation that we don't have a lot of responsibilities, if you will. So we do have the ability to travel easily, and especially with Jordan working online, it really just gives you a leg up to be able to do this stuff.
Yeah, and it's cool. And I think there are a lot of people out there that think like, oh man, like I really that would be really cool what you guys do, just to be able to travel and do whatever. And we're trying to see if we even like it.
That's why we're only doing 2 months. We're like, well, we'll see. But
it's possible. I mean, there's so much stuff that's out there that's online today that it's possible to do this stuff. But it takes a lot of work. I mean, I've been working as hard as I can on it ever since we left last August of 2017. So a year and 3 or 4 months ago, which is crazy, I started this. But I was building that before we even left for that, in that way. I've been building this for the past almost 4 years now, building into this. So it takes a long time. It takes a lot of dedication. Now, if you're going to put your time into it and work at it, you'll probably get there faster than me. I made so many mistakes and was so slow along the way. Even just writing a book and doing this stuff was just I was so slow in the beginning. I think there's a lot of people out there, and I know this for sure, that can do it a lot faster than me and us.
Yeah, well.
I'm just a bit, but I'm working on that. I'm working on just continuing to grow. I mean, when you have no backing in website skills or coding or anything, you just have to learn it on the fly. And sometimes it's, it's going to take you a while. But I think it's good for everyone to know that it is possible to reach pretty much any goal that you want to reach. You just have to make a plan and be willing to put the time into it. I think those are the two biggest things, and having the patience for it to come to fruition. And we've wanted this for a long time now. So it's so exciting that we're just about there. We're not there yet because it's we don't know if we can actually do it, but we're going to see.
Yeah, because 2018 has been a very interesting year. We've been very much, settled into Huntersville and, building connections and trying to grow some roots here before we kind of springboard off into who knows what. And we've been just working a lot this year, and it is weird when people are like, oh, what'd you do this weekend? I was just working the whole time on for me, a side hustle. For Jordan,
and they're
that's his
did
job.
You have to work? And you're like, no, I didn't have to work, but I was working. And it's hard to explain. But I mean,
yeah, but that's what you have to do if you, and I mean, we definitely have been, really tight, financially, which has been, also a challenge, but definitely worth it, to be able to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So what would you rather choose? And I think, some people really, they like knowing they have a job and having income in every month. And there's nothing wrong with that because people like that. And we had, we shared before, we had Brandon on this podcast, and he shared about hobbies. He said, my job is good and I like it, and it allows me to do these things that I really enjoy doing. And that's great too. It's just you never want to get to a point where you're stuck and you're like, man, I don't have time for any hobbies. I don't like what I do at all. Maybe you're spending all of your time every day doing a job you just really don't like. And I don't think that's really somewhere you should stay. And I honestly don't think God wants you to stay there either. He doesn't want us to be in this place where we're miserable, because we can't truly be living out our calling and be making a difference in the world if we're miserable while we're doing it. God loves a happy giver, not someone who's just giving of their time and, sad all the time.
Yeah, because your job just takes up so much of your
important,
time
yeah.
and your energy, and it's just if you are in a position where you can really like enjoy what you're doing, and you can, you know, do things like, you know, hobbies on the side, and, you know,
Yep.
it's just a person by person basis, like what works for you. And we've just really come to discover for us, we can't do that just normal 9 to 5. It just doesn't work. And for me, it's taken a lot longer to kind of get to this
You
point.
would never have said that even a year ago. Even a year ago when we
No.
switched, you were like, "Oh, I'm never
I'm
gonna do what you do."
I
And I'm
have to
like,
have a traditional job. I have to like have that comfort of knowing that structure. But yeah, even this past year, just so much has like changed in me, and I just feel like I've grown a lot because I've always struggled with what I want to do, and
I think most people do, and I mean, we all have.
yeah. And it's just, I've done so many different types of jobs. I've been just all over the board job wise. So it is every time after I'm at a job for a year, it's just like, this doesn't feel right. And before I would have said, well, I just haven't found like the right job yet. But maybe, you know, for me, it's just I need to be working more for myself and what I'm really passionate about in that moment. And if it changes, I can shift with it, instead of just going to, you know, a job where I'm doing the same thing every day. So I think just realizing that for me has been a big thing. And I just challenge everybody listening to really think about it. Just what you're doing, even if it is just switching your job to, you know, still a traditional job, but something different that you feel more passionately about. I think it's worth trying. It's definitely, we're all about trying and failing, because we failed so many times, and it's just like, it just makes you stronger. And we're, you know, that's why we're just, you know, going out. We're going to try something new. We might fall flat on our faces. We might not. It's just, we're going to try. So that's our kind of life motto, you know?
Yeah, because you don't know what you don't know. And there's so much out there that we don't know, that we haven't experienced. Like, this world is a huge place. And I feel like there's just so much out there that we could love. You know, we could go to Thailand and love it and just want to be there more. Or we could be like, you know, that 2 months was fun, but like, I'm just going to chill out in Charlotte for, you know, for a while. Like, and that's fine too. I think it's just, you know, we all have to admit that we don't know what we don't know. And, you know, that there's so much out there, and there's so much potential, I think, for us, but also for, you know, for other people to be impacted by us.
Yeah, and that's really, we just want to make a difference in the world, you know, whatever that looks like, and we're just trying to figure that out, and we're just trying to work towards that goal. And, you know, you only have one life to live, and you might as well just, you know, go all out. What's the point in living life only at 50%? Because it goes by so fast. I mean, we're both turning 30 next year, which is just, you know, you think you're going to be in your 20s forever.
While I'm in Thailand.
Yeah, and it's just...
Or Singapore, not Thailand.
It's crazy to think about just how quickly life goes by, and you know, you really just have to, you know, grab a life by the horns and just go for it. And that's hard. It's hard for me to say as someone who's very, you know, I'm naturally just more, you know,
comfort-oriented,
conservative, comfort-seeking, homebody. It's by no means easy for me to go out and even just talk to a stranger. So that's why all this like craziness has been good for both of us, because, you know, it pushes us, and it would be easy for us to both just live a quiet, normal, run-of-the-mill lifestyle, but we chose to not do that, and it has a lot of struggles with it, but it's definitely worth it because we have grown.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if we get right down to it, especially as Christians, we're called to do more. We're not called to just live a cookie-cutter life. We're not called to just, you know, enjoy our own families, you know, and all that stuff is good. I never say like enjoying your own family isn't a wonderful thing, but if you're stuck there, just really think about that. And I think we just need to know, we need to admit that as Christians, especially, we're called to do more. We're called to be Jesus to people, you know. And Jesus wasn't just someone who sat in his house and talked to people he knew. He went out there and experienced new things. And, well, not that Jesus needed to experience new things, but I think you know what I'm saying, maybe.
Yeah.
He was out there among the poor, and he he was around people like that, and he wasn't just around people that he liked him back. It was a good.
He was constantly...
Jesus was the man. I mean, come on.
He was constantly pushing the envelope and affiliating himself with people that everyone else would look down on, the poor, the diseased, even when, like the tax collectors, people that you would just think, well, that's a bad person. Think about people in your life you just assume, like, well, that's a bad person. Like, Jesus loved those people, and that's what we're called to do, too. And it's really, really hard, but that's what we got to do.
Yep. So in summary, we're back. Avocados.
We're back.
Thailand.
We're
Jesus.
Back. That's if you had to wrap it all up, because we hit a lot of. And don't forget.
We were like total. I knew that. What else did I miss? I mean.
Don't forget, if you check your mail with your keys, to bring your keys with you.
Yeah, double check. And if you are walking down the road and you realize you don't have them, turn around and sprint, because that's what I was going to do. Miranda's like, no, we're good. Let's just walk. And I'm like, okay, you're right.
No one will come that quickly.
No one will come that quickly and steal our keys. Wrong.
Wrong, yes. So that really, that sums it up. We were very all over the place with this, and I apologize for that, but it was a lot that we were trying to discuss. So hopefully our next episode will be a little more focused, if you will.
Yep. So. Any questions, you can connect with us on Facebook at, facebook.com/Jordan and Miranda, I think, is our Leaving Normal Behind page. As we said, you can follow Miranda on Instagram at MirandaRing89. She's going to have a lot of cool pictures about the trip and also leading up to that. And then there's also, I think you put the picture of our avocado plants on your Instagram, maybe.
Well, no, actually.
Well, now you're going to have to.
Yeah.
All right, people. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and we hope you also stay toasty, friends.
Yeah, stay toasty. We're supposed to get some snow tomorrow, so we'll see if it's real or not. Yep.
So hunker down. Don't get too snowed in, or get snowed in. Just get snowed in and stay toasty, friends.
Bye-bye.